Yo, we back again. If you're throwing in the towel, then you're back in sin. We need the Holy Spirit, please let the chaplain in. Here at the front door, chilling with a childish grin. We can now begin. Now the truth be told, we're riding on the light to let the youth get old. And following the one that will soothe your soul and take your bad situation and improve your role to release your flow. It's a long stretch to loosen all the nooses from the ladies' necks. And tell the young ladies they should save the sex. And tell the young guys not to break their neck for the place of sex, but get the paycheck. And real women really don't play that. A wise lesson learned really, really way back. I used to okay that. The Lord saved me, Jack, from a life of whack. Come on. Into the black light, into the madness. Oh, yeah. Into the black light, into the madness. Yeah, you might want to start paying attention on this next verse. You a king to me. Give me your attention for a minute. Damn, come on. We from the same cut, but playing different positions. A top secret message got the president attention. Do what you do, just make the good folk listen. And trust me, yo, it's not about who you kissing. There is a plan to see you chewed up and shit out. The devil's burning red from the fire that we spit out. We on to get up, the hell with that down low. Cherish the gift of the wisdom that we found, yo. Still on the mission with the daily agenda. Your head's been cloudy, so I doubt that you remember that I walk with the king of kings inside me. Just like the root in India, I read. I volunteer, no, the Lord didn't hire me. It is the spirit that inspired me. Water of life to show the chief where the fiery. We have no time for those that be acting grimy. Yeah, I get it. You see the light now? Boy, I've been talking to y'all for a while. You see, you thought this was for like some type of game. Man, revolution. Yeah. When you're free, your mind, your ass will follow. That's for real. And some of y'all locked up so bad, don't nobody have to put chains on you. Hell, you chain yourself down mentally, spiritually. Come on, free your mind, dude. You a king. Free your mind, chick. You a queen. Let me get something with some feel to it, some funk to it. Come on. I think I like that. Can we get some heavy drums in there? More like calypso, Caribbean. Yeah. Yes. Bounce to this. I'm just a black man, title, yo, you give me that. I like them imports, never push the Cadillac. And what you figure, Mr. Man, while you're kicking back with sick plans to get you stacked, making chickens fat. You know you into that, chilling with your timber cat. Intoxicated to the point, past sinful acts. Be very nimble, Jack, or Jill will get a water back. And have your heart broke just like a heart attack. Look where your power at, no, not the Midal cats. It's deeper than tats and hurricanes and old maps. The spirit flows, so my folks throw daps. Meant for the wise as well as the spoiled rats. So you can fold up or either you can fold back. I hold no judgment over those that have chose crack. Terror over habit that has been proven to hold back. With God on your side, you can get your soul back. Yeah. We need some 3 parts on this, man. Yes, sir. I can't carry my boys at chorus. Come on, line up. Yo, we need y'all 3-part harmony on this. I don't know how you can work it out, but work it out. Hope you can see by the end of the night how deep this music is. What is it crowded a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Hope you can see by the end of the night how deep this music is. What is it crowded a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Into the room, you feel a certain doom. You might lose your hearing from the sonic boom. Out of the mouth is a sword and I'm taking you out. You try to stop me and I'm faking you out. Man, I wish I had an apprentice to build this work. Collaborate on synthesis. And I hope you remember this. Keep your enemy near to you. Far away, keep those that are dear to you. I hate beer, but I used to drink the brew heavily until the little habit turned deadly. I used to have a bud every day and all week, intoxicated to the point where I couldn't hardly speak. So do the knowledge, that means hold your head, let the past stay dead and keep a level head and don't be misled. Remember most of what I said, I'm hot like times in a rock, but you got us hot from working on the block.
By the end of the night, how deep this music is. What is it profit the man to gain the world and lose your soul? Hope you can see by the end of the night how deep this music is. What is it profit the man to gain the world and lose your soul?
Mike's handed, I'm speaking candid. Understand this is the way that the masses demand it. I have wisdom but God planned it. General media banned it. I blow flows on beaches and make you wonder where the sand went. The Taliban spent more times in design to destroy cities. My rhymes inspire minds. I'm known as Big Papa, but I ain't your daddy yet. But I could be your bro if you could get the concept. There be many that stand whenever I rip, but it's devastation whenever I rip. I spit flows that hit like mouth on tits, straight legit. You fake rappers need to understand that felonies, gunfights and drugs don't make a true MC. And I will do more than talk this talk. I will defiantly walk this walk. There's no need to spaz. Your nose bleeding while I'm beating your ass. You in the cesspool.
Hope you can see by the end of the night how deep this music is. What does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Hope you can see by the end of the night how deep this music is. What does it profit?
In my music, and in a lot of this music, it's only talking about the oppressed rising up against the oppressor. That's all. That's what my music's about. The oppressed rising up against the oppressor. So the only people that's scared are the oppressors. The only people who can have any harm coming to them are those who oppress. Simple as that.
3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. It's time for a change, gotta bounce up. The oppressor's about to get tossed up. I'ma lay him out, execution style's too late for an apologetic claim. You wrapped in a coca flame, my God, it's over. Doing your time is to the end. Lockjaw silent without sin. He put me on the planet for justice to win. The oppressor's about to get rolled down with suppressors attached in the war zone. Revolution can start in the air zone. I'm a messenger popping like Farrakhan, backed by the honorable who sits at the pinnacle, who judges the hypocritical, cynical, and the plentiful simple. My thinking is critical. I'm just ventilating of the actions of the protective service. Quick to pull the Glock, blast and kill. This don't take any type of skill. I'm ill of all citizens who haven't took a stand. Oh, and it's too late when the caps get pills. Don't believe in GC type. Ruin hits close to home. You gotta act the bone when it got the dome. When it's on the song, all red on my vision through sight. It's killer be killed whenever I fight. From above, I'll be given the right. So you better be ready to ride tonight. All the way to the dawn daylight. We gon' win them all, so gon' pass the kite. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender.
This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in everyday, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. You want to be successful? You want to be like Trump? Gimme. Push. Step. Crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped.
Sprayed like crazy, bro. Spraying like they're retarded, man. God, dog, man. Can't make this up. I'm ready to planes, bro. Oh, Matt, what's going on? Marcus, what's happening? Andy Villa, Billy Vita, what's going on, beloveds? Herbo, Delusions, what's going on, fams? Good to see everybody up in there. And baby girl Slaughter, we're gonna start reading here in a couple of minutes. I'm just gave him a little snack, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a good read too, as usual. I want to read something first. We're gonna start a little sooner this time, okay? I'll let it go for 10 minutes, is more than enough. Okay, I wanted to read this. I want to show you something. Now, I like to go to the Progressive magazine. There's a few that I like to read. I used to get them when I was on the res, but I stopped getting them. And I wanted to share something with you. You know, it was known since 80s. When I was in the military, when we went to Palestine, we used to see a lot of New York and people from here who were in the police department getting trained. Well, this right here is around 2019. United States police are being trained by Israel. It is not Israel. Israel is not a place. And they're stating like those are the Israelis, and they're not. And communities of color are paying the price. In recent years, Georgia has experienced troubling trends in fatal police shootings. As this has unfolded, the state continues to pursue a police exchange program with the state of Israel. What you need to know now, it's not just New York, Georgia, California, it's a lot of places. Now, you all know just last year or beginning of this year, they had that Jersey meeting where thousands showed up. They also do that in California. Those are a little more secret. They've done them since the Reconstruction era. Because you got to remember, we were the original police officers, the peace officers. That's what we were, and we kept the peace, marshals and everything. I actually ordered a book on the marshals during the World's Fair, and they're all melanated. These guys are racist. You know how you always got these little pale skins that come in the ex-military. I went to school, you know, dark humor and everything, and majority of them went to fight the Arabs because they were just dark people, not knowing that some of the relations. And it goes on, and this is by Isles Bishushan Cohen and Azadeh Shashahani. Now, in recent years, Georgia has experienced troubling trends in fatal police shootings. These incidents nearly doubled in the state, up 77% between 2017 to 2018. By May 2018, Georgia was already reportedly experiencing a more rapid rise in officer-involved shootings than the rest of the country. According to an investigation of deadly police shootings in Georgia, in the 6 years after 2010, 184 people were shot and killed by police, almost half of them unarmed or shot in the back, melanated. In 2019, Georgia has already recorded 22 fatal police shootings. And as you see in Palestine, I know some of you have seen those videos where they executed the mom walking with a baby, unarmed, nothing, just a pop shot, just a sadist with the IDF, the so-called fake Israeli Defense Force. I know y'all seen them actually going over there, and I don't know if y'all seen this video. It's on Telegram, where they're actually targeting not just journalists. You have some foreign correspondents who they targeted, shot in the head, seeing very well they were pressed, no weapons, cameras. I don't advocate violence, but the thing is, there's a limit. There's a time's up, and I know the chemicals and everything play their role, but you're more powerful than that. I know some of you seen that 1950 footage where they're showing who are the tobacco and the copper-colored Indians, and they're our people with the canoes. There's so much footage out there. And yet you have individuals from New York, from liberal states, who are married to some Mongolians or whatever, that I got a lot of them consider my brothers. But those ones I know the true history. I sat down with the Hopi, even other tribes I'm not going to name, because I've been to thousands of powwows. And, you know, we have brothers over there in New York who were established, and they believe about the red road and all this other nonsense. And you know what's bothering? I respect these individuals, yet they talk like, and this is a liberal thing too. I think it's in the water where you have to accept what we say or, buy. Like ToLU'S, like I don't care. Nobody's going to tell me who the original people of this land, regardless of the whole world getting along. The original people of all lands were melanated. And I'm not talking about Ket, Mongolian, whatever, Gujar. I am talking about us being original people on all lands. Yet here, we were the original ones here. Now, these people talk as if they know science and math and medicine and haven't studied not one bit except for docus. The disturbing point is racism is alive. It's convenient just because you married a Mongolian, fine. Native American, yeah, they're born here natively. They're not autochthonous to this land. I don't care how anybody feels. Visitors, yes. I mean, you got to remember in the UK, you had 4 kings and even queens visit them. And one of them was King Pharaoh. Queen Khalifa was well known over there, and they attempted to make her into a myth. And when I told you that California is actually Carolina, that's why North and South Kakalaki was known as California, where the Khalifas. See, this is where people have a hard issue, because we attempt to fight in order, not really knowing that everything is backwards, reverse, upside down, and inverted, and it's conflicting and confusing. I only came here because I wanted to make super babies. When I accepted who I was, I saw the women around me, and many of them wanted children. I was like, no. I had guys who I would go out and have a couple of beers with saying, man, she fine in the mug. She half you. Ah, no. It's one thing when you know things. It's another thing when you have to study, and it's another thing when you embark to find out more and not just lament in what you found out. This story goes on. And if you would like to read this, I'm not going to read everything because I want to really get into reading this. But you see this right here, this one little part. As this has unfolded, Georgia continues to pursue a police exchange program with the state of Israel, the state of Palestine, with the people calling themselves Jews, run through Georgia State University. The Georgia International Law Enforcement Exchange arranges for American law enforcement officials, corporate security executives, and police officers to engage in training, briefings, and seminars with governments including that of China, Colombia, Egypt, Hungary, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and the original and primary focus of the program. The people are calling themselves IDF. Now, it's for 27 years. Grants from the U.S. Department. And I already pointed out this government. And if you would like to see it, it's the Progressive magazine, but it's an article, like I said, and you can see the year here is 2019. Okay? If you want to read all of it, okay? It's quite a bit. All right? I've already read it. And I says, I would like to share that with you because what we're dealing with is a disease beyond the scope of your deepest understanding. Okay? And know this, they died in vain. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I hope that was informative. I hope you got something from that. I seriously do. And enough is enough. I'm just grateful. And I know there are some devil agents that'll smile on your face and everything, which don't bother me at all because, like I said, I can smell them. I can be standing right there, smile with them, laugh and talk, and know that they're no good. And there's a time when I'd give them a pat on the back and tap on the butt and say, oh, wonderful job. No, there has to be balance. So let's get into exposing the expositions of 1851 and 1915. You're going to like this, okay? Let's go ahead. This is Howdy Mikowski's revised 2021 from his 2019 edition. He embarked on this because there was the pandemic going on. And the first book I have, I'm not going to read it. If you bought it, you know what I'm talking about. But here it is. And of course, you see the Court of Honor. You know that a lot of these statues were created by them. Okay. Some of their greatest, some of their best artists and stuff like that. And it was to push a narrative. All right. Now remember, we had our light-skinned brothers and sisters here. And if you haven't researched and bought the books and looked up to that in the history, because you know it's all fanatical. It's all, but a lot of them were murdered right along with us. In the yard, they show you all these brothers and sisters hanging, but they don't show you the tree on the other side of the yard with some of us, what you would call maybe Spanish, but even our light-skinned brothers who are part of our family. They would kill them right along, who fought back. And see, that's the story they don't like to tell, because they want to keep this division and separation. So you have this perversion of this self-hate that illuminates not only on our side, but even that side, because most of them don't know who they truly are. And I'm not saying all, but you need to remember, when the decision was made to start conquering the lands, eradicating the people, poisoning them, they had to get the numbers down. And the only way you could do it was smiling in their face. They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. So let's get into it, okay? Yesterday I showed you the pike, 1.5 miles long. 1.5 miles. Just take a half a mile. How much do you think they can build in 2 years? All right? So let's pick it up. The pike was the name of the fair's long Midway Street, which was more than just a few booths and carnival rides. It was almost 1.5. I made a mistake, y'all. I made a mistake. I said the wrong name last week. Okay? Okay, because it was all the way up to 1920s, Wild Buffalo Bill, okay, Wild West Show, and that, if you want to get deeper, because remember it started around 1895 to 1920, and remember I said, and I'm attempting to find a book where I first read it was in France, where he used Ket people. It says Ket and Arabs to play the Indians. Once it was said and done, their children were sent to Indian training schools. And I told you my great grandma, was a kid teaching them the ways of the family. Okay? It's not some made up stuff that later became boarding schools. All right? Okay, I just wanted to share that. Because we have these so-called engines who YouTube famous and everything else to keep pushing these narratives, and I'm like, you never sit down and talk with me, you know, and they're arguing with people, and it's like, no, nobody's that tough. It seems like every state from Texas all the way up to Canada, all these brothers think they're just such bad butts, man. I just think they're bad, man. Just guys in Texas, I ride horses and hunt. So what? You know, people from Texas I choked out in the military. I'm so tired of it. How many I knocked out in the ring in the hangar bay? I'm just so tired of these. I've had enough of it. Okay? Dog, can we all just get along? Now I'm sounding like Rodney Bling. Rodney Bling. Anywho, let's go ahead. Let's get back into this. My apologies. I advocate no violence. Not at all. I'm intolerant to racism and all that dumb stuff. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. So, almost 1.5 miles long, and doctors warned weaker patients not to go to it out of fear they would collapse from trying to see it all. While the Chicago Ferris wheel was there, and of course, basic rides and the like. Take a gander at the world experience and the visitor can enjoy. It so dwarfed what was at Chicago. I have to present some of it to you to get a sense of some of what it was. For it was like a giant worldwide travel experience, accentuated by thousands of actors. Each exhibit had a giant restaurant seating as many as 3,000 people. Actors. Why? Because we were fighting. A lot of our people would be the first things in these so-called, you know, crazy homes, whatever you want to call them. I don't like giving it energy. but a lot of ours, and chain gangs. It wasn't just the punch bowl. The chain gangs is where they put a lot of our people, hundreds of thousands, who were innocent or POWs. And the black and white stripe was to signify that. For it was like a giant worldwide travel experience accentuated by thousands of actors. Each exhibit had a giant restaurant seating as many as 3,000 people. Now, ancient Rome was a colossal exhibit with over 400 actors employed to give the visitor illusion of going back in time to a life of gladiators. A large arena called the Hippodrome showcased chariot race, jousting, boxing, and gladiatorial clashes with 200 persons, 40 animals including tigers, lions, and leopards. The finale was a reproduction of Nero's Rome burning. Oddly, this is the exact Roman period I think these expositions are mirroring, discussed in chapter 7. Rome didn't exist like that. There was no period of time of so-called Rome and no. That's all based. This is how they create a new history, write in a new world, and create new characters and whitewash even the lies. Okay? Tyrolean Alps was a nice acre reproduction of the Alpine region in Bavaria, Germany. It had 21 village cottages, a cathedral, and gigantic mountains of staff. Visitors could ride a simulated tram car through the Alps. Remember, we made the monorail? Who remembers me reading all the so-called black inventions? Monorail. You remember, right? Okay. Where real cattle, I'll read it again. Where real cattle and goats would be in pasture, dancers and musicians entertained the crowds. Jerusalem covered 11 acres and included 22 streets and 300 buildings. Replicated were the stable in which Jesus Christ was said to be born, the Golden Gate. So they had to create their own actors because we weren't there to tell the stories. The Mosque of Omar and the Church of Holy Sepulchre, because they had to push religion. Over 1,000 people from Jerusalem traveled to the United States to participate and work at this exhibit. What Jerusalem? Like at Chicago, one could walk down the streets of Cairo and smoke a water pipe, ride a camel, haggle for carpets, or walk through a replica of Luxor Temple at the streets of Seville. One saw a replica of the Plaza de Toros in Madrid, and been there, and Gypsy Lane of Barcelona. Love Barcelona, Spain. The Great Siberian was a train ride that utilized illusion to make one believe they were on the Great Cross-Russian Railway. And now the Irish village was entering via a replica of St. Lawrence's Gate. Paris is replicated France during medieval times, and there was Constantinople, the Chinese village, and the streets of Old St. Louis. Wow. There were more than just world trips. Frankie Phillis produced what was supposedly the greatest and most realistic military spectacle known in the history of the world. It was a mock battle from the recent Boer War. Different portions of the concession featured a British Army encampment, several South African native villages, including Zulu, San and Swazi, and a 15-acre, 61,000 M2, if y'all know what that mile per square, arena in which soldiers paraded in major battles from the war were reenacted, with over 600 veterans soldiers from both sides of the war. At the conclusion of the show, the Boer General Christen de Wet, portrayed by an actor, of course, would escape on horseback by leaping from a height of 35 feet, 11 meters, into a pool of water. Another was Battle Abbey, designed to be a 400 by 250-foot replica of the convent near Hastings, where the Normans defeated the Saxons. It was, do y'all know who the Normans were? It was it was Romans and Saxons. Anyway, watch Cure Meal. Listen to 324 drop. It was fashion complete with towers, bastions, parapet drawbridge. Inside was a museum of American wars with 6 huge cycloramas depicting famous American battles: Gettysburg, Manassas, Yorktown, New Orleans, Buena Vista, Little Bighorn, and Manila. The Gettysburg cyclorama was 50 feet high and 400 feet in circumference. Of the many exhibits that were at this fair, perhaps the saddest was Geronimo, Apache war chief, once again, as was at the fairs, and this is in parentheses, all right, as was at the fairs in Omaha and Buffalo. He was placed, as Wikipedia called it, on display in a teepee in the ethnology exhibit. He sold photographs for 25 cents, signed autographs for 10, 15, or 25 cents. As the case might be, supposedly he got to keep part of the money. Others claim he did not, as he was still a prisoner of war and only let out of his Oklahoma jail to attend the fairs. And pull up his pictures. Many people in St. Louis invited Geronimo to come to their homes. Geronimo didn't like what was going on here, so he fought against them. Futile, because even the story of his war was sad. Because you got to remember, some of the places he fought, but it was roads, come on, man. But his keepers always refused. Every Sunday, the president of the fair sent the 74-year-old chief to go to the Wild West show, where he took part in roping contests. He had this to say about the whites: "I am glad I went to the fair. I saw many interesting things and learned much of the white people. They are very kind and peaceful people. During all the time I was at the fair, no one tried to harm me in any way. Had this been among the Mexicans, I am sure I should have been compelled to defend myself often. I wish all my people could have attended the fair. This sounds much what a prisoner let out of jail for a few months would say about the very people who allowed him time outside." And you know who played with a skull, right? Did they ever return it? And these fairs put primitive people on display. From a documentary of the St. Louis World Fair, one of the historians remarked, "Fairs were the celebration of Western civilization, of its superior intellectual and scientific achievement. The firm belief was that if we could spread that around the world, everyone would be better off." The belief, so it wasn't fact. Spread this fake knowledge, and the children would come up thinking that way. And ergo, you have this goofy racism of dumb people who are a minority in all the world. Hence, the primitives were shown off like animals at a zoo, who needed the great Western industrialists and Christians to come save and fix them. Such displays included the Apache of the American Southwest and the Igorot of the Philippines, both of which peoples were dubbed as primitive. The Cliff Dwellers was a reproduction of the caves of the southwestern United States, covering over 5 acres of ground, containing over 100 dwellings and peopled by 300 natives of the Moki and Zuni races. Pull up the Moki and Zuni races, including men, women, and children. For an extra 25 cents, one could enter the theater to watch Indians perform snake and kachina dances, and one could purchase authentic baskets, weaving, pottery, and silver work. The new face of America. J.W. Buell wrote in the opening of his volume on anthropology at the exposition at the fairs, has an all-embracing scope in which, you got to remember, they had to dehumanize who we were. Anthropology at the exposition at the fairs has an all-embracing scope in which is to be seen the works of men of all races, the primitive and the barbaric, brought in contrast with the most highly civilized, that every step of progress may be observed. And the same thing the media does. They dehumanize our people. I watched the videos. This lawyer, his attorney, he's Jewish, I like to watch him, who showed this 18-year-old girl from school, well known, didn't create a problem. Something was wrong with the lights. She pulled over in the gas station because she was afraid, and rightfully so. And the cop gets out and he's asking for all this identification. She's attempting to get it, and he snatches it out, puts it in an arm bar, and he doesn't even have his thing on, and then turns around, and the other cop shows up, and he's talking that coded. "Well, I know the family, and you really need to make sure you have your story together." He didn't even have his thing on. These people are sadists, and they're not tough. The store camera was on, so they were able to pull it. And I would like to see what comes of that. And I hope that was a good read for you guys. Let me go ahead and mark that. I want to make sure I mark that. pretty interesting. And it's good to know other things. So whenever you read, to have other information is an absolute finite as far as being able to, you know what I mean? When I'm reading, don't speak so much, just, relax, read everybody, because then you take the focus away from what I'm saying and you're not listening. I'd appreciate that. Now we're going to get into, it's good to see you, Lucy Rose. Heaven Bearers, Book 2 of 3, The New Age of Deception. Now, we're not going to get right into the book. I want you to listen to this. This is very, very intriguing. And I love the fact when you get a little tea, you know what I mean? And I appreciate all the new subscribers, whether you're an agent or not, I don't care. Oh, let me show you the book, okay? And this time she didn't put her face in there, but she wanted you to see these trees, if you know what those trees are. Okay? So Heaven Bearers, a new age of deception. Mundus vult decipe orgo decipiator, which is a Latin phrase meaning the world wants to be deceived, so let it be deceived. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to start with Ford, okay? Because I find this is a few pages. And we're going to read half of it. I can read all of it right now, but then we'll get into recapitulation. I can't stand that word. Recapitulation, Heaven Bearers, the Great Reset of 1934, and the Mud Flood. And from there, we'll get into Knowledge is Power by Francis Bacon, which this is the Ford. Listen to this. Human beings have a natural blind spot located in each eye. This is nothing to be alarmed about, and most of us never even notice that we have it. The power of the mind naturally fills in the missing parts of the image that the eye isn't able to see and completes it into a perfect picture, filling in the blanks automatically. The mind is powerful. So though you really can't see it, your mind has already put what it knows to be there. That's memory. And it brings it to reality. Ergo, when they say the Matrix and all the other nonsense they're pushing, the reality is it is physical, even though it is subliminal. This demonstrates that the mind is capable of something truly remarkable. Is it therefore too far out of stretch to assume that our mind is capable of other seemingly impossible feats? I continue to tell you so. In the book The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot, 1991, I have it as a good book, a theory is postulated and is semi-supported by quantum science that demonstrates the possibility that our minds are able to interpret the different wavelengths created by the atoms that are all around us and produce the physical world as we see and know it. Now, I already stated, your cats, when they see you, they don't see you first. They see your energy. We'll use the word energy. They see your light. They see it bright, dim. They see the color spectrums. They see when it's disturbed, distressed. They see when it's happy, when it's wanting, when it's empty. So that's how they react. What does this mean for us as a whole? There is no one opinion on this matter, remaining undecided, and it is for the reader to determine individually what he or she may think, but it says believe, based on the different studies. I say may think based on the different studies conducted. So your research. Yet the book does raise the concept of a third eye, the mind's eye, which is the pineal gland, located in the brain and is spoken about in many ancient cultures, ancient cultures has allowing an individual to experience reality in a much deeper way. Some grammatical errors, but it's all right. And it's not by her. This is an individual. Read his name in the end. Is it possible to activate this mind's eye? Apparently it is. And this is what many are striving to achieve through meditation. Meditation is not the answer. And other physical means. Frequency seems to play a role too. It's the biggest one. The best frequency being between 65 to 75 megahertz. on average for the human body, which can slightly vary depending on the source. Is it possible that the reason for the perfect symmetry found both in and on the cathedrals and other old European style buildings was to create a certain frequency? They don't say here in America because they destroyed them all. Is there a deeper meaning to the ring of the church bells or the sound produced by the organ? These are questions we as individuals can never truly answer. Well, you can, because there is no official answer. Of course there is. At least there are none other than those in the mainstream history books, which often contradict themselves or make no logical sense. Touché. The questions remain unanswered, but the possibility remains strong, nevertheless, and an adventurous mind will continue digging until it finds the answer it seeks. If one takes the time to read The Holographic Universe, I would suggest that y'all purchase that or see if you can find a PDF. And I highly recommend that you do, okay? One will realize that the capabilities of the mind are truly endless. And they are. This is why we have certain phrases such as mind over matter or a mustard seed, size of a grain of a mustard seed, faith. Faith is no more than knowing and professing and making it real. Can move a mountain, among others, and just to name a few, mind you. Where there is a will, there is a way, is another powerful sentence, for it acknowledges the power of the mind and enhances the realization that anything is possible if you truly don't just believe it, but know it. Remember I stated that before I got this book, okay? So if y'all could, go ahead and write this down. And as a mantra, practice saying them. And don't just believe them, but know them. Okay? Mind over matter. If you have but just the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. Okay? Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay? Just entrust in yourself. And take a little bit of my word for it. Research. Experiment. Anyway. Again, referring to the concept of mind over matter, the obstacle we all face is the lack of understanding, because you have been nurtured in this. You have been taught a lot of farce, nonsense, and the inability to truly see with our eyes and how to open the mind. You don't see with just your eyes. Allowing for the full use of it, I've come to speculate that if the mind can automatically fill in the missing images caused by the blind spot, it can correct other abnormalities and missing visuals, and even allow us to see things regarded as imagination. Perhaps this is why our dreams are so vivid and are able to defy certain scientific laws and logic. Is this the mind unhinged? Self-will run riot? That's mine from a poet. Perhaps in this state, it is no longer bogged down by formal constraints that are not real or physical, the lies, but constructs we have trained our mind in believing is real. Stop looking outside of yourself for the answers. I've read that a dream is a continuation of one's reality, and according to a study led by computer scientist Alessandro Fagli from the Roma University in Italy, the researchers conclude that most dreams are a continuation of what is happening in everyday life. If only we were able to tap into our subconscious and awaken our active, the mind's eye, what would we see as our true reality? Would we see it as a physical, as we do now, or would we realize that it is all interconnected and is made up of millions of different wavelengths that our minds merely interpret as physical and into the various objects? You know, I told you my wrist every morning swells up, right? It's damage in there. With the 1,000-pound bomb, with the accident, it snatched my hand and actually separated my wrist from my arm, right? It's 1,000 pounds. And when I fell, it popped it right back. And it swelled up. And they just put ice on it, gave me Motrin. And 3 days later, after my knees and all my ankles and everything in the whirlpools, I went right back to doing the same stuff. But I was 20-something years old. I was a power lifter, so I had these strong tendons and muscles. But let me tell you, before I was dismissed, when I was training for the Special Forces, Boy, that thing was a mo. You know, we have pain. And just because we have pain does not mean that it is not at a 4 or 5. That is not all right. We don't want to give it strength. And me, I wake up every morning with a level of 8 to 9 on the pain. And by fasting and not eating right off the bat, by having a mushroom coffee, and not consuming something to around about 10, 11 o'clock, what happens is I reset myself as far as no sugars, so I'm not insulin, suppressive, you know what I mean? And I'm starting to burn a little fat, but there's a lot of chemicals that play a part, even in all the damage. You see what I'm saying? But here, some people will say, well, if you learn to live with it, I've accepted the reality that it's there. But I do not pursue it to instigate it to create the pain much further. Just like my 2 toes, no cartilage, right? They wanted to go in there and remove what has been in there and let blood fill it up to have my toe flapping around. I was like, what kind of barbaric? But if the proper frequencies are around, that's why I work on things. I can grow it back. This is known. Okay? Is it a problem for me? I'm breaking my foot off and somebody's behind. But anyway, right? You see what I'm saying? So does it mean that you stop? No, you increase. You more output. You become the dividend. You become the benefactor. You become the source for the resource. And the resource becomes your source. All right? There are plenty of movies that hint at the possibilities of different realities, or that our world could be a sort of computer program or matrix. But our current senses are not capable of validating any of these theories. First of all, using the word theories, what does that do? It turns you away. It's like a do not enter sign. Caution before you enter. Okay? You must eradicate that. You must allow yourself, just like waking up out of the bed, you might step out and step on something and get, step on a nail, or you might go in the bathroom and slip, anything. I'm not giving it that strength. What I'm saying is the possibilities. Everything like that is a theory. The reality is a theory can also happen, right? So you must eradicate the term theory, because anything is possible. Our eyes see, yet we do not know how to see through them. Just like when I did that, who remembers last year, when I says, I want you to say a word out loud in your head. Isn't it loud? Without saying nothing. Say hi, but say it in your head. You hear it just as if I said hi, don't you? Say goodbye in your head. Now this is where the fiction comes in. You believe that you hear it. And then some would say, well, you're manifesting it because it's the process before the action of your mouth through your lungs, the silica, and your larynx, your voice box. No, that's all process. The symptom is what comes out, the sound, based on the shape of your tongue, the distance of your mouth and your teeth. You know what I'm saying? The roof, and how everything else functions. Yet you have said the word loud enough for everybody to hear it. It's just that nobody has been nurtured the way you were taught as a baby, wah, 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 and become words. Same thing. A lot of times we hear each other, but it's wah, wah, wah. We can't make sense of it. Our ears hear, but we cannot hear the frequencies that matter. Our senses are tuned to the wrong frequencies. And so our bodies cannot pick up the natural vibrations, opening up our minds to the true possibilities and the real reality that stands before us. To see things with our real eyes will allow us to realize this, and then the possibilities will be infinite. Is this why the frequency of our instruments was changed over a century ago in 1885? The Italian government declared that all instruments and orchestras should use a tuning fork with a vibration of 440 hertz instead of the original and standard vibration of 435 hertz, which was slightly different to the 432 hertz used in France. Then in 1917, this was endorsed by the American Federation of Musicians, and in 1953, an agreement was signed that was accepted worldwide that the middle A key on the piano would be changed and tuned to 440 hertz. And from then on, this became the standard ISO 16. Reference. A quick internet search will reveal this information, but the actual rationale behind it is absent, because who put themselves in position at the end of the Reconstruction, 1953 period? The very ones killing the Palestinians, the very ones teaching people how to harm people, be emotionally unstable, the chemical lobotomies, the spraying of chemicals, the poisoning of water, wanting to print chicken and beef and human meat, and that, but yet they want to give all these vaxes and everything else. There's a Charles Schwab for a reason, a Bill Gates, a Zuckerberg, and so on, and so on. But the actual rationale behind it is absent. Was this done intentionally to change the natural vibrations, which in turn keep the mind's eye asleep? One can only wonder and at most speculate. What about the church bells? There is a 200-ton Tsar bell that sits on the grounds of the Kremlin in Russia, and it is the largest bell ever made in the world. Actually, there was one here bigger than that. It measures 22 feet wide at the base and 20 feet in height. Unfortunately, it is now broken, and no one ever heard the sound it produced. However, it is estimated that it would have made a sound at 80 hertz. This is in line with the natural vibrations of the human body. Very low frequencies are said to cause the body not to fare well. Therefore, did these bells have a specific purpose other than what we were taught in the various institutions of learning? Did these bells create and maintain a higher frequency that resulted in overall good health and generosity, kindness, and other harmonious attributes, keeping man and nature in a perfect equilibrium with each other that was also mutually beneficial? What about the mystery of 43776 bells? 43,776. I just wonder if any of y'all read about the World's Fair yet. 43,776 bells collected from various regions all over Czechoslovakia, which were removed and melted down over 70 years ago. The official narrative suggests that in 1942, the Germans collected thousands of bells from Bohemia and Moravia, and then destroyed them. Why was the collection and subsequent destruction of these bells so important during a worldwide war? Why were they destroyed at all and not just reused? People from the late 1800s built massive cities all over the world and decorated the buildings with precisely cut bells and other ornamentation, including antiquities, for no particular reason, and had the finances to do this in a very early time period when poverty was rampant. Then came the turn of the century, and slowly all of the aforementioned was removed and destroyed for no reason at all. I have no words to explain any of this, but I do find it extremely strange. And we'll read the last little bit and get into the book tomorrow. It's very interesting. Wouldn't you say so? Fabulous read this is. Herbo. Zeroes up. It's pretty interesting, isn't it? Devin Moore, what's going on, beloved? Spread the gospel around, get drunk on spirits and stupidity. This watch out. Like a zoo exhibit, although that means people did witness it, so what? Yeah, right? The spirit and the spares, man. That's when they started pushing the first, that when I read Flatlandis and all the books that go with it, because Flatlandis, when I first read it on here, I read all these books and I was like, whoa, those are great sources to go to for reference when we're talking about the Kundalini and the chakras and all that stuff. And so when I purchased those books and I went through them, I was like, holy smack, I can't wait to read that. But I want to get with Jamil Shamsi's Don't Call My Dummy, no, and then I tell you Don't Call My Dummy. I want to do that before I get into Flatlandis. I really want to break that book down. Yeah, of course. Terry Peters, what's up, beloved? Welcome to the assignment. You already know. I hope y'all subscribe to Delusions and everybody else. I really do, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Granny, PRDL. I hope that was a good read. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope it was worthwhile. And I appreciate everybody. I still didn't check. I'm not going to check until next week. I didn't check to see if y'all donated. I would hate to see if I was to pass away and y'all be like, let's run Miss Cheap Red Wolf or Jim Lucifer, whatever you want to call me. Chuck. You can call me Chuck or Jimbo or Jimmy Mac. I have so many nicknames from all the women in my family, and that's the way it was. Yeah, the donations, cool. You know what I mean? We'll get some more books. I went to the post office and the guy was back there again. It was like 3:40. He hadn't even made it to my box, and I was like, "Who is this guy they got doing the Thorazine shuffle in there?" A little humor, but I hope that was informative. I really, really hope so. And if you want to know who that is, okay, that's something she added in there, and I think it was an excellent thing for a forward. That is actually by Knowledge is Power by Francis Bacon, B-A-C-O-N, not B-E-A-C-O-N, okay? So, pull it up. It's a great epithet. I wouldn't mind having that in a picture. But again, active listeners. Cool. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. We're at about 56 minutes. Ganja's got to get back. He is working on a video, so I can't wait to see what he puts out. And I'm about to go in here and heat up some of this eggplant with some of that wild rice I hooked up yesterday. It's the last little part. And some jackfruit. And I'm about to indulge in that. That's going to be usually when you're doing intermittent fasting and you get resetting your body. I don't like to eat past 8, but a lot of people actually do eat like the last meal around 7:30, 8 o'clock, which is not damaging. Okay? But I like to get that last meal around 5 or 6 and cause myself to drink fluids if need be. And I don't mind making 1 cup of cassava just as another sort mushrooms, okay? Just to fulfill myself. No dark chocolate at night because it has caffeine, okay? And I have tons of dark chocolate. And you don't want to overdrink water because it can be toxifying. Your body has to refresh itself, and it doesn't need the water to do that as long as you're hydrated. Usually you're hydrated, you're hydrated by sweating. So you don't always want it cold. I'm a big person where I like my apartment to be around 68, 72 degrees. But not necessarily all the time. When I was in Florida, I used to love the heat. I got so used to the swamp-like heat where I just open windows and put a fan in the window and the heat would blow, and because of the perspiration, I'd be cool and cleanse, with the sulfur water. It's like no acne, no nothing. So, like I said, you don't want to be drinking and then have to get up in the morning. I mean, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to go wee. You know what I'm saying? Because that could be other problems. And a lot of times it's dealing with your insulin, your pancreas, your kidneys, what's really going on. And that's why I say it's important to stay away from all the high fructose corn syrup, corn solids, BHTs, FDs, yellow 40s, anything processed food, potato chips, stay away. If you can't get a sweet a yam or a tater, red or purple tater, and cut that and bake it in the oven and hit it with a little Celtic or even Himalayan salt, come on, guys. It's not complicated. Now we know that because we have been talking like this, they're going to mess with the food. They've already messed with it enough. The thing is to make sure you got the stuff to grow it, and also chewing on a celery stalk. If you say if you wake up, you done ate your last meal at 6:30, and you wake up, get you a half an apple, get you 2 stalks of celery, gobble that down. It's good for your brain, your heart, and everything else, your nerves. You get what I'm saying? A little selenium, a little, you know what I'm saying? Vitamin C and all that. Crack your window, let it all air. Now they were spraying. California was clear sky, all right? Over here they sprayed. We walked outside and they had sprayed like they were going retarded. So you know me, I closed the windows, put duct tape, put the rug, put a towel down, and sealed off my door because I'm not partaking in it. It's not that I'm worried about it. It's just I'm not tolerating it right now, and I've had enough. You dig what I'm saying? So Ferric. Yes. That Florida, man, I don't mess with that water now. We used to have a well where I lived at. But anyway, I appreciate everybody taking the time. I really do. It's nothing but, like I said, we're eternally bonded. Okay? we have to be the ones to change the narrative. We can walk in something, and then when the change come with explanation, realize the realization of it. Don't just hear it and go, I've been saying this all my life. Yeah, in all your life, you have lived a lie. So what is it going to hurt? Ladies, gents, again, see y'all in the AM.